and welcome everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me okay and see my screen. This session is combining the powers of Nearpod and Flocabulary into one. Are we set to go? All right, great. Thanks so much, Deborah. I appreciate your support. Glad we were able to kick this off right on time. And so again, welcome everybody. My name is Jess Sangiorgio, and I am one of the district strategy consultants here at Nearpod and Flocabulary. And I absolutely love this session. I think this app is actually my favorite session to lead because we are going to go into how you can leverage all the amazing tools and content from both Flocabulary and Nearpod together into one. So we're going to start by having you join into the Nearpod lesson. We're focusing on both Nearpod and Flocab content, but I would like for you all to actually join in and participate in this lesson. So in order to do that, please go to nearpod.com or log into your Nearpod accounts and utilize this code. That way you can join into my lesson and actively participate, or you can click on the link that I'm going to put in the Teams chat box. So when I paste that link in there, you should be able to click on it and go directly into the lesson itself. Take a minute to get connected with this lesson. This way you'll be able to, again, follow along, take notes, participate, etc. And you'll be actively engaged with me as we learn about using both Nearpod and Flocabulary together today. Now, if you have questions as we go, please don't hesitate to utilize the Teams chat box. Our cameras and microphones are automatically turned off. I'm sharing my screen with you, and the best way for us to communicate is through that chat. So if anything comes up that you're curious about or have questions about, please post those in the Teams chat. All right, great. It looks like we have about 5 people in the lesson so far. I definitely want to give some more time to let everybody get connected with the lesson and set up and situated. So again, please utilize the link that you see in the chat box. That link starts with app.nearpod.com. That will take you directly into my lesson. We're using Nearpod to deliver the training today, but the content will focus on both Flocabulary and Nearpod too. All right, great work, everybody. If you want to use the code instead, you can go to nearpod.com or utilize the Nearpod, your Nearpod account, go through your Nearpod account and enter the code where it says to join a lesson. You can either choose to use the link or the code, either one works. And that's going to then allow you again to get into my lesson, actively participate and follow along with me. You'll be prompted to complete some activities. You'll get to see examples of videos, etc. So please, please take a minute to join in the lesson and let me know if you have any questions at all about that process. Once you join into the lesson, you should see the first slide. This session, again, is titled Combining the Powers of Flocab and Nearpod as One. It's going to be all about how you can streamline lesson creation with Flocabulary Joy and Nearpod Magic and use the tools to have the best of both worlds in one lesson. Remember that at their core, these two platforms do slightly different things, but they're both really meant to engage students as much as possible. Nearpod is more of a lesson and presentation tool that can allow teaching and learning to become more engaging, active, and fun. There's lots of pre-made Nearpod content. Nearpod also is extremely versatile. There's lots of different ways that you can use it. You can pull from the content we already have. You can make edits or changes to lessons, and you can share those lessons with students either live or student-paced, so synchronous or asynchronous. On the flip side, Flocabulary utilizes music-based lessons, specifically hip-hop and rap music, to teach rigorous, standards-aligned content across all grade levels and across the curriculum. Flocabulary focuses on vocabulary and reading comprehension and makes learning extremely fun and engaging through music and song. It's kind of like the New Age schoolhouse rock, but with rap. Flocabulary has an entire lesson sequence built out around every single lesson in the platform. And you can utilize all those different activities with your students. You can also create student accounts in Flocabulary and allow students to navigate the platform on their own. And you can create assignments for them to complete either as a group or individually. So they are still two separate platforms and they both operate a little bit differently. And in this particular session, you're going to see how you can combine them both together. All right, let's go ahead and dive in with our first activity of the day. So here is the question. What is your background knowledge of using both Nearpod and Flocabulary? If you're new to both or one or the other, that's totally fine. Maybe you've used them both separately but not together, or maybe you've gone ahead and started playing around with the different ways to utilize these platforms together as one. Let me know what your answers are. I'm going to flip over to the teacher side and see this data come through. Now, if you are brand new to either platform or both, I'm going to highly recommend that after today's session, you go to our resources page, which is just Nearpod or flocabulary.com/resources, and look for some of our beginner resources and trainings we have available there. We're not necessarily going to get to go into all the details of using both platforms. So if you need a refresher or you need to build on some basics or even start to build a foundation of either platform, that resources page is going to be extremely helpful for you. But regardless of where you are in your Nearpod journey or your Flocab journey for that matter, I do believe you will learn a lot of new things today and you'll get the sense of how both of these tools can work together. So you will certainly walk away learning some new things today, but this data was really helpful for me to see. All right, awesome work, everybody. Let's keep going. So by the end of this session, you will hopefully be able to discover ways that Flocabulary and Nearpod can be used together. Right now, you're seeing some examples of Nearpod activities like that poll question that we just utilized. And soon you'll get to see Flocabulary content embedded into Nearpod too, and we'll go over some of the activities there as well. We'll talk about how you can create Nearpod lessons, including Flocab videos and assignments. We'll talk about how you can explore ways of adding Flocabulary videos to Nearpod lessons, and there's a couple different ways to do that. And how you can discover the Nearpod and Flocabulary Topic Spark lessons that can increase student engagement, and those come from the Nearpod library itself. So a lot to cover, but it should be a lot of fun, and you should walk away really learning a lot of new things. There should be some examples and activities that you can take away from this session and start to use with your students right away. Now, as we continue on through the learning process, please take notes along with me if you'd like to go back and review any of this data later on. If you do take notes in the upper right-hand corner of the screen where you've joined the lesson, you can choose where those notes are sent, whether it's your email address or your drive. And then you can, when I end the session, you can receive a PDF version of the entire presentation, all of the slides, and the notes that you took. So I do highly recommend taking notes along with me. This session is being recorded, so I'm sure you'll be able to go back and review this later on. But if you'd like to go back and review the notes that you took, that's always an option with that note-taking tool in the corner of your Nearpod lesson. All right. So let's get into this a little bit more, creating Nearpod lessons that include Flocabulary assignments. That's the first thing that we're starting with today. Again, remember that these two platforms are still separate and you do need to log into both individually. You should have a Nearpod account and a Flocabulary account that you can log into. With Nearpod, students join lessons with links or codes like you've joined me in today with the link or code I shared at the beginning. In Flocabulary, you can use it as a front of classroom tool, so all together as a group, or you can create student accounts and allow them to log into Flocabulary too. So that's a little bit of a difference there between Nearpod and Flocab. In Flocabulary, instead of having a link or a code for a lesson, you actually create assignments for students to complete. You can pick and choose which activities they receive, and then they can complete those in their Flocabulary accounts. So definitely take time to familiarize yourself with both platforms and ensure that you can log into both and that your students can log into Flocabulary too. If you need more information about that, you can find it on our website. Now, based on what I've already described to you, let's go ahead and complete this drag and drop activity. Okay, so on the left side, you see benefits of Nearpod. On the right side, benefits of Flocabulary. I've already given you a high-level overview of both platforms. Some of these things are going to sit right in the middle of both because they overlap between both platforms, and some are going to be specific to either Nearpod or Flocab. So take a minute to read these text labels and click and drag and move them to where in this graphic organizer they belong. Using hip-hop music to engage students with academic content, that's going to be unique to Flocabulary. Developing Tier 2 and Tier 3 vocab. More Flocab, but you can overlap with Nearpod, I would say. Providing real-time data for feedback to teachers. Yes, you can get data back in Flocabulary, but not in real time, and so on. So go ahead and see if you can submit your answers, dragging and dropping all of these text labels to where they belong for the benefits of both platforms. And this will just be a good refresher and review of what these platforms can do as well. All right, nice job, everybody. I see some of you have submitted your answers. All right, let's pull some of these up. Yeah, so in Nearpod, those ready-to-use standards-aligned lessons and activities, absolutely. You actually also have some pre-made regular standards-aligned lessons in Flocab too. Packaging and presenting multimedia lessons in one simple place. Great. Both have gamified learning experiences, absolutely. Both provide data to teachers. More of a vocabulary emphasis in Flocabulary, and then using hip-hop music to engage students. All right, great job. So yeah, some of these have overlap. Some of them are unique to both platforms, but I think you're starting to get the sense of what can be similar and how these are different and how you can start to utilize both of these platforms together. So again, make sure that you spend some time logging in and familiarizing yourself with each separate platform. First Nearpod, then Flocab. You can go in to start to see those pre-made lessons and see the differences between the two. You can make those edits and changes in Nearpod lessons as you want, and you can explore those lesson sequence of activities in Flocabulary. Also, make sure you get those Flocabulary student accounts set up so students can receive their assignments that way. All right, now let's say you have everything set up and ready to go, and you want to embed a Flocabulary lesson into Nearpod. It is super simple to do this. You're simply going to go into Nearpod first to start. You want to either create or edit a lesson. Once you go into creating or editing a lesson, you need to then find the Flocabulary lesson you want to use from that platform, and you're going to copy and paste the web link for Flocab into your Nearpod lesson as web content. Okay? So there's multiple ways to do this. You can add lessons from the Flocabulary platform and embed them into Nearpod as web content. You can add in individual Flocabulary videos just by themselves, or you can use the Flocabulary video pack and use our Nearpodized Flocabulary lessons we have ready to go. But the first way that we're really focusing on is embedding the full Flocabulary lesson from the Flocabulary platform into Nearpod as web content. All right? So first, you want to make sure you've created your Nearpod lesson, right? You're in your Nearpod account, you're editing or you're creating a Nearpod lesson. Then you're going to search for add web content within that lesson. Then you're going to go into the Flocabulary platform. You're going to find the lesson that you want to put into your Nearpod, and you're going to copy and paste that web URL into Nearpod as web content. Once you do that, the entire lesson will embed into Nearpod, and students can utilize all the Flocabulary tools and settings that are there. Let me show you what this looks like. So first, I'm going to open up a Nearpod window. I'm going to go into my Nearpod account, and I'm going to go ahead and select Create. This will allow me to create a brand new lesson from the very beginning. And maybe this is a lesson on fossils. So let me close this out and title my lesson Fossils. Then, whoopsie. Actually, let me add a slide first. So I'm going to select Add New. I'm adding new content into my Nearpod lesson from Flocabulary, but I'm going to select web content, okay? So web content, and then I'm going to select Add. So now I have a slide that looks like this, and this is going to be for my fossils lesson. And I want to go ahead and find the Flocabulary lesson on fossils. So I'll open up another tab and go to flocabulary.com. Now that I'm in my Flocabulary account, I'm going to search for a fossils lesson. Then I can see that I have a couple different options. I'm going to pull up the lesson page. This is the full lesson in Flocabulary with the video, the different tools, and the entire lesson sequence of activities down the side. I'm going to take this whole lesson page. I'm going to copy it as web content. So I copied this link and I'm going to paste it into my Nearpod lesson as web content. And that's it. That's all I have to do so that the lesson embeds directly into Nearpod. Now I'm back in the original Nearpod lesson. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I've embedded this lesson that I've pulled from our setting. Remember that we have different subject areas in Flocabulary. We've got our core subject areas, our tiered vocabulary words, and our weekend wrap content. But I've chosen an ELA lesson from our core subject areas on setting. I've taken that web URL from Flocabulary and I've put it into Nearpod as web content, just like you saw me model. When I do that, and now I am in the lesson itself in Nearpod, when I get to that slide that has the Flocabulary lesson embedded, it looks like this. So I've got the lesson, I've got the video, and all the tools that I can adjust. Then I have all the lesson sequence activities. We're going to go through this lesson. So I'm going to show you this Flocabulary video on setting, because if you've never seen a Flocabulary video before, I want you to get the idea of what this can look, sound, and feel like for your students. So we're going to watch some of this video, and then I'll take you through some of these tools so that you can see what those are like as well. All right? You're getting some examples of Nearpod activities, and I'll show you some examples of Flocabulary activities too. But first, enjoy this video on setting from Flocabulary.
I'm sitting, leaning, living, breathing, thinking about the book that I finished reading. I dug the characters and liked the plot. Was anything else important? Probably not. Wait, what about the setting? The setting is the one I'm always forgetting. It gives us the where and the when, but it's mostly in the background. Know what I'm saying? Actually, maybe not. The setting might be more important than I thought. Here's the character, his name is Todd, and here's some action that's a part of the plot. Todd clenched his jaw, he was sweating. Now how could that be informed by the setting? Well, let's say he's on a track at a race, shooting fur, he's running, trying for first place. But what if we switch up the setting? There might be a different reason Todd is sweating. Say he's in class, sitting at a desk, you might infer schoolwork's causing him stress. Or what if he was on a ship going down? Fear is the reason he's sweating now. Yup, setting can reveal conflicts and plots, plus it provides context. I'm betting the where and when is the setting, the mood and themes that we're getting, and the plot the author is telling are informed by the setting. I'm betting the where and when is the setting, the mood and themes that we're getting, and the plot the author is telling are informed by the setting. The setting can inform the mood and the theme like a score adds a feeling to a movie scene. If the setting is a cliffside drive with a nice smooth ride under bright blue skies, the theme might be exploration or freedom, and there's already a mood I'm feeling, a mood of hopefulness and excitement. From the setting the author's writing, good authors choose settings with care. They don't pick a random place and put their story there. Like when Odysseus is trapped in the cave with a Cyclops who wants to eat him up right away. Why did the author choose a cave? He wanted Odysseus to be trapped, okay? He could have chosen a locked room, but a cave's gloom sets a darker mood. And it allows Odysseus to hide in the dark until he blinds the Cyclops and then sneaks off. The setting of the cave was key to the plot and conflict, the mood and themes. So the next time you read a book, at the setting is where you need to look. And when you write, choose a setting with care. Think mood, theme, and plot, and not just where. I'm betting the where and when is the setting, the mood and themes that we're getting, and the plot the author is telling are informed by the setting. I'm betting the where and when is the setting, the mood and themes that we're getting, and the plot the author is telling are informed by the setting.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. just so we have enough time for everything. Now notice that there is a teacher resources tab here, and I'm now working on everything directly from the Flocabulary platform. It's just embedded into my Nearpod lesson as web content. But because I'm logged into my Flocabulary account, I can navigate the teacher resources. I can see that there's printable handouts and activities that are in a PDF format I could download for my students, and I can see standards alignment. I can also see what the video is about and the vocabulary words that are going to be repeated throughout the lesson. You've got ways to adjust the video with speed, turning on a discuss mode, which loads in pre-written critical thinking questions that will prompt students to answer as they watch. You've got a quick review and the lyrics to review as well. You've got your vocabulary cards, which are basically like flashcards where students can pull the cards up and both write and draw what the word means to them. And they can flip them over like regular flashcards too. We have our gamified quiz under the vocabulary game where students are going to answer questions and earn instruments to create an entire beat. Our break it down, which is going to prompt students to find text evidence from video clips and explain their thinking to answer questions. A read and respond, which is going to highlight those same key terms and prompt students to answer these and confirm their answer. This is going to be basically like standardized test questions. A regular quiz, and a lyric lab. And the lyric lab is a scaffolded rhyme writing tool where students can write line by line to show that they've learned about the video and the content, and also included their key terms that they've been working on throughout it as well. So those activities are all available in Flocabulary. We took that Flocabulary lesson on setting, we copied and pasted it from the Flocabulary platform, and we put it into a Nearpod lesson as web content. That's how you can embed the Flocabulary platform into Nearpod and seamlessly allow students to go through, watch the video, and complete all of their assignments and activities directly from flocabulary.com. Are there any questions at all about that process? There's a couple questions I see in the chat. Are there any Spanish videos? There are a couple. One of my favorite lessons in the entire platform is the Frida Kahlo and self-expression lesson. You can find that in Flocabulary, and that is going to be our truly bilingual lesson. We have a couple lessons that are a bit bilingual. We're hoping to add more. We also always have the immersive reader option. So if you're in any of these activities and you see this book and speaker icon, students need to be able to access this so you can enable it in your profile settings. Once you enable the immersive reader, this is for both Nearpod and Flocabulary. Students can click on that book and speaker icon and they can see all of this text. And one of the options for the immersive reader, in addition to adjusting text or translating text or doing text to speech, is choosing which language they translate the text into. Right now I have Spanish chosen from this huge big list of languages. And if I turn on the document toggle, it translates everything into the language of choice and activates text to speech with that for both the English version and whatever language you choose. So even if the video itself isn't fully bilingual, we just have a couple, then you can always have students use this immersive reader to translate the text from these activities into a different language of their choice. Great question. Yes, you do have free access to Flocabulary. You should be able to log in through Clever. Awesome. Yep. So when you go through Clever, you can log in. Same thing with Nearpod, and you'll be able to see that you have access to both platforms. Yay. Okay, good. I love all the excitement in the chat. All right, so just to recap, you've got two separate platforms, Nearpod and Flocabulary. You can find all these great lessons in Flocabulary. Look at all the different things that we offer. Once you find lessons that you want to use, you're going to copy and paste the URL from that lesson in your Flocabulary account, and you're going to paste it into Nearpod as web content. So when you're creating or editing lessons in Nearpod, you're going to take that link and paste it into Nearpod as web content so you can access all these great Flocabulary settings, tools, and activities directly in the Nearpod lesson. That's what we've covered so far. Now, another way to add in Flocabulary content is to add just the Flocabulary video by itself to Nearpod. So you do this through the Nearpod library. When you go into adding content from Nearpod, you're going to go to your Nearpod account. You're going to edit or create a lesson. You're going to find the video section of your library, and you can add in just individual Flocabulary videos. We've got pre-made Flocabulary videos. They're just the regular Flocab video from the Flocab platform, but they have interactive activities embedded in them. Those are already completed and done by our team, but you can edit and adjust those activities as you want. Let me show you how this is done. So if I'm in Nearpod, I've already added in the actual video from the Flocabulary platform. But if I wanted to add in something else, I'm going to go into Add New, then Add Flocabulary Video, or I can go to a regular video, but I'm going to go to Flocabulary Video and select Add. That's next to web content, but this time I'm selecting just an individual Flocabulary video instead of the entire platform. And now I have all these great videos to look through. So I can look through, I can organize, I can filter by grade or subject. And these are going to be all the Flocabulary videos that we have, but with the already included activities. So if I wanted to add in, let's see, linking verbs, let's do that one. I'm going to click on that Flocabulary video. Here's the video itself. And here are the different activities that are already built into this interactive Nearpod video. I can edit and adjust these activities. I can also add in some more of my own. But let me show you a sample of what this type of video is like.
What's up, y'all? Here to talk about birds. That's right. Not just any kind of bird. A special time. We're talking about linking birds. What? State of being. Let's go. By now you heard that. Show action. Yep. She runs, he swims, she played, he ate snacks. But there were other types of verbs about to make an pitch. Linking verb. Subject with the rest of the sentence. Okay. The rest of the sentence gives us information about the subject state of being. That's why we can say they are state of being verbs. Now we're getting down to biz. Action verbs show what something does. Linking verbs show what it is. The most common linking verb is every form of to be. Is, am, were, was, are, being, been. See, here's a sentence. She is cold. Her is a linking verb. No action was shown. Oh, it connects the subject to the adjective. It tells you what she is and not what she did. Be careful. Be verbs aren't always linking verbs. Does it link the subject to more info? Gotta be sure.
All right, now at that first activity, it's going to pause the video from playing and it's going to ask students to share in their own words the purpose of linking a verb. All right, so I could delete this activity if I didn't like it. I could change it and change the wording if I wanted to. And then I'd go back to the video and keep going. So once this is done, I save it and it's ready to go. Now I have one video that is from the actual Flocabulary platform with all the Flocabulary tools and resources on fossils. And I have an ELA video on verbs, which is just the interactive Flocabulary video by itself. So maybe I'll change this lesson now to Flocabulary work because we've got multiple videos for different subject areas. Any questions at all about including just individual interactive videos? Just by selecting Flocabulary video when you're creating or editing content in Nearpod. Any questions at all about that? And the difference between just adding the video directly from Flocabulary with those interactive video features compared to putting the entire Flocabulary platform and the lessons from there embedded into Nearpod as web content. Any questions at all about that? Yeah, so Veronica, with the immersive reader with the Spanish option, just remember that when you log into Flocabulary, all you have to do is go to My Profile and then scroll down to the bottom of the page and enable the immersive reader. Once you do that and that's turned on, wherever students see the immersive reader icon, so for example, if I go into this video and click on the quiz, wherever they see this book and speaker, they are able to use that and they can find the translating tool under this book icon here on the right-hand side where it says to translate, and they can pick and choose and translate the text into other languages there. But yeah, your district will make these videos and these presentations available to you again, so you can always go back to review that later on. But just wanted to reiterate that since I know you were asking in the chat. Can students go back to what they write? Yes, they absolutely can. So whether or not you've assigned the work for them to complete, for example, in that lyric lab option, they can always go back to the lyric lab and continue where they left off and continue writing. Same thing with the vocabulary cards. All right, great questions. So now let's look at another example of an interactive video from Flocabulary that we've embedded into the Nearpod lesson. Okay, so again, we're going into Nearpod this time, and instead of copying and pasting the Flocab platform into Nearpod as web content, we're pulling Flocabulary or regular interactive videos. We're finding those Flocabulary interactive videos from the Nearpod library, and we're just adding those into our lesson. Pretty simple and straightforward. When I do that, then when I select the vocabulary video, I have all those different videos to choose from, and those will be interactive that I can adjust and tweak all of the different activities on. So let's watch this one together as a group. I'm going to give you another example. This time it should be a science lesson. So we've seen ELA, we've seen science, and I believe that we saw something else as well, maybe a couple ELA videos. I'm just giving you some different samples of different types of vocabulary content that we have. Now with this interactive video, I'm going to pause the video from playing on your screen and just play it on my Teams window so we can watch this together as a group. But when the activities pop up in Nearpod, you'll be prompted to complete them. So we're gonna have you complete one of these activities so you can see what it's like to embed an interactive vocabulary video into a Nearpod lesson. Here we go.
We don't get it when we rest, we get it from food. If you're a cow and we eat you, we get it from you. Cows get it from eating the grass that they chew. Grass and plants get it from sun's rays, using photosynthesis, work even on Sundays.
All right, here's that first activity. So explain how the sun's energy is converted and flows through food chains from producers, plants to herbivores, plant eaters to carnivores and meat eaters. You don't need to write too much here, but go ahead and try this interactive video. So on your screen where you're in the Nearpod lesson, you should see this activity pop up. So even though this is a FlowCab video, we have Nearpod interactive activities interspersed in the video for students to answer. So give this a quick try. You don't need to get this totally right. You can just write a really brief sentence or just a couple of words. All right, nice job. Go ahead and keep working. Doesn't need to be too long. Great, food chain, awesome. So I'm starting to see your answers coming through within this open-ended question that's embedded in the Flocabulary interactive video. I could spend time looking at your answers here. These are going to be saved in my Nearpod report. Since it's not directly from the Flocabulary platform, I'll see it in the Nearpod section instead. I could take some time to review these, to check in with you, etc., or we could just keep watching the video. Let's watch a few more seconds of this.
Light hits carbon dioxide in the plant, makes carbohydrates and some oxygen. You can't destroy it, but you can move it. You can't create it, but you can use it. You want your car to move, burn some fossil fuels, but just know that oil's something we cannot renew. But solar panels, windmills, hydroelectric dams all give us energy again and again. We can even get energy stored in the earth. It's geothermal heat from the core of the earth. It's the energy inside of me. Can you feel it? You feel it? It's the energy. It's letting us move whenever we step in the room.
All right, now here would be the next activity. And again, it's an open-ended question. But there's two different types of activities you can embed into a Nearpod interactive video. That's an open-ended question and a multiple choice question. And again, you can pick and choose those activities and you can adjust them as needed. Okay, so again, just to recap, the first way we talked about using Flocab and Nearpod together is taking lessons from the Flocabulary platform with all the tools and settings that are unique to Flocabulary and embedding those into Nearpod as web content. Then we talked about going into a Nearpod lesson, finding the interactive Flocabulary videos, and adding in just individual Flocabulary lessons that have those interactive video features. The last thing that I want to show you here is how you can access the Flocabulary video pack. So when you're in your Nearpod account, if you scroll down, I'm going to save and exit this lesson. If I scroll down the left-hand sidebar, I should get to where I can see the Nearpod library and also then the Flocabulary video pack. When I go into that section of my Nearpod account, I'm going to see what we like to call quote unquote Nearpodized vocabulary lessons. These are going to be in all different subject areas, and it's going to pull the vocabulary video as the core content, but it's going to have slides and activities built out around that video. That's a regular Nearpod type lesson. So for example, if I go to take a look at this, I can see that I have these different lessons. So if I go ahead and I click, here's fossils, here's energy, here's cells, here's all the same vocab videos I know and love. And if I flip through this, it starts with this first slide. Then it gives me an about this series. It takes me through a scope and sequence of this lesson in Nearpod. Gives me some information about cells. Then it's going to allow me to watch that vocabulary video on cells. And so on. So we watch that video. Then we complete some Nearpod activities that are unique to Nearpod, like the matching pairs, the VR field trip, and so on. So we're combining the video from Flocabulary and that Flocabulary content with all these great activities that are built and are unique to Nearpod. Here's the drawing activity. We complete this Venn diagram. We take a quiz that's in Nearpod, not in Flocabulary. And then we wrap up with a poll, and that ends this lesson. So again, these are Nearpodized vocabulary lessons that are available in the Flocabulary video pack in your Nearpod account. Remember, you can find these in the core subject areas. They're designed to be about 25 to 30 minutes, but you can always tweak and adjust that as needed. And because these are lessons found in Nearpod, you can always make edits or changes to those lessons too. All right, everybody. Does anybody have any questions about finding the Nearpodized lessons in the Flocabulary video pack? Awesome. You are so welcome for the clarification. No problem at all. Any questions at all about the 3 different ways that we've talked about using Nearpod and Flocab together? I'm about to give you some workshop time. So let me know if there's any more questions before we switch into the workshop time. Okay. All right, so I am going to give you about 10 minutes of independent workshop time. During this time, I want you to do a couple of things. First, I want you to pull up 2 additional windows, log into your Flocabulary account and log into your Nearpod account. That's step 1. Once you're logged into both accounts, I want you to start playing around with this. So maybe you're taking those vocabulary lessons from the Flocab platform. You're finding those lessons that you really want to utilize. Maybe you're experiencing what the lesson is like. And then you're copying and pasting this link into a Nearpod lesson as web content. Or maybe you're spending this time editing and creating lessons in Nearpod and adding in the videos, those interactive videos from Flocabulary. Maybe you're taking some time to edit and adjust the activities that are in those Flocabulary videos and deciding what you want to add or change or put in that Flocabulary video itself. Or maybe you're going to your Nearpod account and you're going straight to the Flocabulary video pack and exploring the topic Spark lessons that are there, those Nearpodized vocabulary lessons that are ready to go. However you want to use this time, whatever is going to be the best use of your time, feel free to do that. But I do encourage you to work on this so that you can go ahead and understand how you can really utilize both of these platforms together and get the most out of all of your lessons. Okay? I'm going to go into my Nearpod account and quick launch a timer. Again, 10 minutes of independent workshop time. What we like to say in both Nearpod and Flocabulary is that practice makes progress, and a little bit of practice goes a really long way. So I've shown you a few different ways to utilize Nearpod and Flocab together, and now I want you to put this into practice. Whatever's standing out to you, whatever you're excited to use, give it a try. I'm going to stay quiet while you work, but I will continue to answer your questions in the chat box. So if you have questions, Please post those in the chat. When we come back together, we'll start to wrap this up with some final reflections, resources, and next steps. Have some fun. All right, everybody, we are going to start to come back together. We have about 10 minutes left in this session. All right, great. Yeah, it looks like maybe a couple of you are having some login issues with Clever. So there was a suggestion to try using Edge instead of Chrome. Maybe that would fix the issue, but that maybe is something you want to check in with your tech admins about. All right. Let's go ahead and go back to that original Nearpod lesson. I am going to ask that you share some final thoughts. So, what were you able to work on during that workshop time? What integration option between Flocab and Nearpod excites you the most? How might you use this information and these resources to support your students going forward? This is going to be the last activity I ask you to share today. So again, just share your biggest takeaways, your next steps, what you're excited about, what you learned, maybe what you accomplished during that workshop time. Please go ahead and post that information on the Collaborate board now. And then we'll share out some of your responses before we wrap up with some final resources and next steps. All right, I'm seeing your posts starting to pop up. Please keep sharing. I would love to hear what you accomplished, what you're learning, what you're excited about, how you're going to use Nearpod and Flocab together. Take another couple minutes to post on that Collaborate board. You can find the Collaborate board in the original Nearpod lesson. And if you need to get reconnected with the original Nearpod lesson, I can post that link and code one more time in the chat box. I know some people are working out login issues with Clever, etc. in the chat, so thanks for your support there. All right, let's take a look at what you're starting to say, what your reflections are here. So you integrated the interactive videos within the Nearpod lesson. Great. So you're pulling those Flocabulary interactive videos into a Nearpod lesson. That's awesome. Being able to add Flocab videos to Nearpod is what you enjoyed the most. Integrating Flocabulary videos within the Nearpod lesson. You added math videos for your first week of school. Embedding Flocabulary videos into the Nearpod lesson. That's what you enjoyed the most. Great. So you can use all those great Flocabulary activities that go along with it. You love the exploring time. You're already looking into activities for reading, and you will teach those the first week of school. So many opportunities for students to internalize imperative vocabulary, and it's awesome. Yay! So happy to hear that. I'm glad the workshop time was beneficial. I'm glad you're able to use that productively and that you're already able to see how you can use this content during the first couple weeks of school. Finding the Flocabulary video pack in Nearpod. Great. Found some fun videos for Spanish. Awesome. So it looks like you have tried the different versions or different ways to use Flocab and Nearpod together, which is so fantastic to see. All right, last call for anybody else who wants to share what they're excited about, what they accomplished, what they're going to use for Nearpod and Flocab going forward. All right, and special shout out to those of you that did share your responses and your reflections here. That is much appreciated. All right, everybody, so we are going to start to wrap this up. Remember to continue to work on Flocab and Nearpod separately as well as together. Remember that you can take Flocab lessons and embed them into Nearpod as web content. You can pull up those interactive Flocabulary videos from the Nearpod video library. And you can go to the Flocabulary video pack in Nearpod to find Nearpodized Flocab lessons that you can use with your students. Lots of different ways to use these platforms together and leverage all of the tools and content from both places to get the most out of each and every one of your lessons for your unique learners. You can bring joy and engagement to your lessons utilizing both of these platforms too, and have a lot of fun along the way. If you ever need support in either platform, whether it's Nearpod or Flocabulary, you can go to our resources page. You've got nearpod.com/resources or flocabulary.com/resources. You can also always reach out to our support teams at either Nearpod or Flocabulary at support.com. All right, everyone. So again, thank you all so much for being here and learning with me today. We have a couple minutes left. So if you don't mind, please complete the survey that's been posted in the Teams chat. Also, I have an additional survey for you if you don't mind filling this out. So this was a specialized PD because it combined both Nearpod and Flocabulary. And my name is Jess Sangiorgio. So if you have time to provide us feedback, we really appreciate it. Feedback is a gift to us and our entire professional services team. But I do know that you're being prompted to complete multiple surveys today. So definitely complete the district survey first before moving on to mine. And if you'd like to provide feedback to us, we greatly appreciate it, but totally optional. So thanks again for that. I'm going to stick around for the last few minutes of this session and answer any final questions that you have. So if you have any more questions, please go ahead and post those in the chat. Otherwise, if you have the surveys, you can feel free to sign off for the day. There's some additional reminders about logging into your accounts, as well as some reminders about what else to expect during this PD day for your district that are in the chat. So make sure to check those out. Deborah, again, appreciate your support. And thank you all so much for working with me today. You were a fantastic group. Let me know if there's any more questions in the chat. Yeah, I can put the link to my survey in the chat as well. So there was one for your district and one for myself that is in the chat now too. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you were able to participate as much as you could. It was awesome working with you.
Thank you so much, Jess. Great presentation.
Absolutely. Thanks again for your support. I appreciate it.
Did you try calling me?
No, I didn't. I think I just did that to save your number, but I ended up getting in with the regular link. I have 3 different calendar invites, and so the second link for this session worked totally fine. So somehow that first link this morning must have gotten mixed up in the in translation.
But I didn't see, so I was worried.
Nope, I'm all good, and hopefully we'll be good for the afternoon session as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Everybody, hopefully we'll see you at noon at the live session with Felly. Don't miss it. She is amazing.
Yes, you can put, if you're filling out my survey, you can put specialized PD. And yeah, I mean, that could be a great option for ChatGPT with writing Spanish lyrics for your own songs. Maybe those are songs that you share out with your students as a model. Maybe students are working together on those as a group going forward. There's a lot of different ways to use the Lyric Lab. So I highly recommend checking out our website for more information on that. Oh, if you put a different session for our form, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. If you put integration or anything else, that's completely okay. Doesn't matter too much. Thanks for filling out the survey. We appreciate your feedback. All right, everybody, we are at time, so I want to be mindful of that. I know you have other sessions to go and see. So I hope that you all take care and stay safe. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. And thanks again for being here with me today. Take care. Bye-bye.